I just wanted to talk a second about, I guess, reflecting somewhat about, I don't want to say being a man, but yeah, the manhood and everything. You know, I've been in conversations before. I was in one the other day with a friend of mine, and you know, and this is not point and blame at nobody either, but you know, there's a lot of things I didn't catch growing up. One, I was the only child, so I didn't have that, the sibling part of it. I didn't have that. I had a very unusual home life because I was raised by my mom, my grandmother, and my grandfather. And my grandfather passed away when I was 12 and a half. So for the first 12 and a half years, I had my granddaddy really pouring into me. And a lot of people will tell you, you know, that I feel like that's got a lot to do with my old soul and just how I am. There's habits I have to this day that are directly from my grandfather, hands down. And I'm incredibly grateful for that relationship that I had with my grandfather. But from 12 to adulthood, it was a lot of feminine energy, a lot. And this is no kicks against my mom or my grandmother by any means. My grandmother, you know, had, I don't want to say habits, but ways. So she was a very anxious person, for instance. My mom ended up being somewhat of an anxious person. So I grew up around a lot of anxiousness and worry and stuff like that, especially after my granddaddy died. So that got ingrained in me. And there was some other stuff too, you know, abandonment issues, things of that nature that go all the way back to my beginning. And it's like I was telling my friend, and we both were talking about the same thing because he has been through it too. You get to an age, for me it was about 30-ish, where it's like you start to realize I've really had to kind of figure this out on my own. I didn't have as many male father figures as I would have liked. I had some, but there was not anything near as cohesive as what I had with my grandfather. And so if you scale it off of that or compare it to that, it's just hard to compare. So I didn't have a lot of that. So I've had to figure a lot of stuff out on my own, and that has not been an easy task. And my friend, he basically was, what got me on this was he mentioned it, that there was a lot of stuff he's had to figure out on his own because his situation and mine are a little bit similar, not exactly the same, but a little bit similar. And so here I am now at 37, almost 38, and all I can think of is I'm going to be 40 very, very soon, God willing. And I don't want a bunch of mess going over into what hopefully would be the second half of my life, or the next chapters or whatever. So, and I've mentioned, I think, too, how God's been dealing with me this year, but I think the most fascinating thing is that God has really been blowing me out the water with just making me into a better person making me into a better man, and just purging stuff out of me. And it's been a constant. It's been a constant of him purging stuff out of me. And even to the point of allowing situations at times, or allowing circumstances to bring stuff up out of me to deal with, just to deal with it, you know? And I'm incredibly fascinated at this year specifically at how God has dealt with me and how he has worked to pull stuff out of me. And that's through situations, through learning, through self-reflection. There's tons of pieces to that, but all of those pieces are ways God has dealt with me. And I guess before I go too far on a tangent, is men. I will say, I guess, a few things. One, take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves. I don't feel like we do a good job of that. A lot of people, for most of us, a lot of people depend on us in some shape, way, or form. And if anything were to happen and you weren't here anymore, I think a lot of people would be torn up, and they would miss you, and it would just create a void. So take care of yourselves. I've definitely had plenty of seasons where I did not take care of myself. I'm putting forth a much bigger and better effort now to do so, and for plenty of good reasons. But I just want to encourage all of my men folk especially, take care of yourselves. Really take care of yourselves. And allow God to purge you. Allow God to heal you. Allow God to get you past all of these things that have hurt your relationships, that have hurt the people you love, that have maybe alienated you or caused you to just malfunction, you know. Allow God to do that with you. And lastly, look after your fellow men. Because like I said, there were points where I didn't have that, and not the way that I would like. So look after your fellow men, look after your younger men. Especially, God, the generation coming up, oh my God, like I'm scared for them, legit scared for them. Be there for your young men and for each other. Be there. That's it. I don't feel like I have to expound on that. I shouldn't. Like, you should know, be there, be available, you know. It doesn't mean you have to be some extravagant mentor, but be available, be there. So over time, my hope and my prayer is that I'll be able to give you more of my testimony as it unfolds. Watching God move, watching God heal, watching God fix the broken pieces of me. So, and don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm this horrible, screwed up person. But there are parts of me that are malfunctioning. at times. There are parts of me that don't work right at times. There's parts of me that do the wrong thing sometimes. And granted, we're human. I have a friend of mine that always tells me, give yourself some grace. So I guess if I had to add a fourth thing, give yourself some grace too. Don't be too hard on yourself. But don't be so lenient on yourself that you don't make any progress. Push yourself, you know? Push yourself to be better. Push yourself to be more like Christ. Push yourself to get past your problems. Push yourself to heal. Push yourself to recover. Push yourself to get past all these things from your childhood and traumas and all this stuff. Push yourself for that, you know? Yeah, I think that's all I got. But yeah, men folk, take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. There's a vast need for that. And I'm watching and hearing constantly either the lack of men, the negligence of men, the disappearance of men. Don't be in that number of men who are absentee, who are not able to love, who are so traumatized by life that you don't know how to love properly, or you don't know how to be in a relationship properly, or you may not even know how to have a friendship properly. All of these things. Don't be in that number. Don't be in that number. Let God fix you. Yeah, I think that's it. Take care of yourselves. Be there for each other. Love each other.